when we talk about, say, microeconomics, that I think all of you have understood. Is it clear what is microeconomics? Okay. Is it clear? What about everybody else? I'll like to have your responses first, and then I'll carry forward. Please give me your responses, then only I'll carry forward with the class. Is my voice clear to everybody else? Okay. Okay. What about others? Okay. So I assume that all of you have understood what is microeconomics. Now I'll talk about what is macroeconomics. Any ideas about what is macroeconomics? What is macroeconomics? If there is a break, then possibly I am not speaking. So please do not get confused with this. Yes, my question to... Yes. Okay, so Vineet says macroeconomics is that part of economics which studies the overall nation as a whole. Am I right? What is macroeconomics? What according to you can be macroeconomics? Okay. No. Nishant, no. Macroeconomics is that part of economics which studies the economics of a nation as a whole. Okay. See, when we study the economics of individuals, then that is microeconomics. But when we study the economics of a nation as a whole, then that is termed as macroeconomics. Okay, where there are many things. Yes, economics related to masses, economics related to nation, the society as a whole, the overall production that is being done in a nation, the overall businesses that are being run in a nation, the overall economic problems of a nation, how resource utilization has to be maximized. All these things, when they are studied, then that is known as macroeconomics. Is the difference clear between what is microeconomics and what is macroeconomics, all of you? Is the difference between the two clear, everybody? Amrita, what did you not understand? Can you just put your question across? See, when economics for a nation as a whole is taken care of, then we study something which is known as macroeconomics. Okay, when we study economics of individuals, okay, individual human beings or individual organization or individual industry, then that part of economics is known as microeconomics. Is Gauri, is it clear now? What about others? Om Prakash Mundra, what is not clear to you? No, Amrita, it is not human resources. As I already told you, that nation as a whole uses lot many resources apart from natural and human resources. Sorry, human resources. These are natural resources. As you can see, capital and entrepreneurship. Okay, so a nation as a whole uses many resources to produce goods and services. And the economics of a nation is that these resources have to be used in the best possible manner. So when we study the economics of a nation as a whole, then that part of economics is known as macroeconomics. Is it clear now? Economics of one industry may affect... Yes, absolutely. It is all interrelated. Everything is interrelated. Absolutely correct. Amrita Das. I told you what is economics concept. I told you it is all about using scarce resources in the best possible manner. So when we study this economic principle for a nation as a whole, then that is macroeconomics. When we study economic principle for individuals, that how they utilize their resources and bring about satisfaction to themselves, then that is microeconomics. Is it clear, everybody? Now I'm assuming that the difference is clear to everybody. Now when we talk about yes, for individuals it is microeconomics. When we study individual economics, it is microeconomics. Okay, now when we talk about, say, macroeconomics, as we say that the resources are scarce, so all the nations face this problem in an economy, this economic problem, okay, this basic problem in an economy, that is what to produce. No, Amrita, organization is an individual entity which is a part of a nation. Okay, so when we study the economics of the whole nation, which comprises of all the businesses in a nation, then that is macroeconomics. But when we study one organization and its economics, then that is microeconomics. Industry is also micro, Vineet. Yes. Amrita, please, you have to be slightly more alert. Now, the basic problem of an economy is, as you can see it on the slide, see, the nation faces this problem that whatever resources they have, what they should produce, whether they should use labor or capital intensive techniques, and for whom they should produce. Now, to talk about this basic problem for a nation, I will like to give you the example of Mr. Hitler. What he did was, he was an ambitious man. He wanted to conquer the world. He wanted to conquer the entire Europe and the entire world. For his ambition, and because he was a dictator of the nation as a whole, he produced goods and services not for the society. He produced goods and services more related to war purpose, wherein, like, he was producing weapons, he was using his technological and intellectual capital for production of goods and services which were used in war, finding out techniques, better war techniques, so on and so forth. So what he did was, he directed all the resources that Germany had for the production of goods and services which were related to war, and of course he used both labor intensive and capital intensive techniques, and he produced for his own ambition. Okay, yes, we will talk about the interrelationship between micro and macro. Ritesh will definitely do that. So my question to you is that, was he right? Being a dictator of a nation, he is producing goods and services for his own ambition. Was he justified? Was he rational? Not at all. Why he was not rational? Why do you think he was not rational? I am only talking about the economic portion out here. Of course, if we see that he was producing more for his ambition, that is absolutely incorrect, because a nation which is more or less nowadays being governed by governments should produce goods and services which bring about development in the society, which bring about satisfaction in the society. Okay, which produces such goods and services which are being required by the society. Okay, so any nation has to in a very prudent manner choose what goods and services it should produce to satisfy its population. Like, for example, if we talk about, say, developing economies, it is more of the basic requirements that have fundamental importance in our economy, that is producing food grains and all, which is of course the fundamental requirement for the population, for our ever growing population in India. Of course, if we talk about say Indian scenarios, it is more of labor intensive techniques that might work, which has a good intensity of capital intensive techniques also. Okay, and of course the government should aim at producing goods and services which are for the welfare of, which brings about the welfare of the society. Vineet, I'll personally answer this question after the class. You can write down all your answers. Uh, you can write down all your questions. I'll answer this question. Okay, as far as goods and services are there, they are being categorized, and how and why the government allows it, that also I'll discuss. Definitely I'll do that. Okay, so that is one of the basic problems of a nation. Of course, see, when we talk about say Vineet, as it is not like that. These kind of goods and services, as you have talked about, like liquor and cigarettes, these are being taxed heavily. So a nation like us, like for example, if we talk about say the Indian scenario, it is, we have a mixed economy. Mixed economy means that some of the goods and services are directly under the control of the government. Some of the goods and services that are being produced in the, and rest of the goods and services that are being produced are in the private hands. Okay, so government might not have control over all the goods and services that are being produced in a nation, whereas with its regulatory authorities, like for example TRAI, Telephone Regulatory Authority, controls the telecom, and its taxation processes, it controls certain private products. Like for example, you talked about cigarettes and liquor. It is being taxed heavily. The license is being checked by the government. There is a procedure for that, and that is where, by trying to increase the price of the product in these markets, okay, government tries to bring down this demand. No, it cannot. The real reason behind this is, Kiran and others, those who have doubt in their minds, see, it is that a nation is not run by only economics as a factor. A nation is being run by is having other factors like politics, the social, the cultural factors. Everything is mixed together. It is not that we or all of us only think economically. We are all not Mr. Manmohan Singh, who is a good economist. So a nation is not only about economics. A nation is a combined effect taken together, seeing its cultural, its political factors, its socio-cultural factors, its demographic factors, the state of its development, so on and so forth. Okay, so we, Indian government cannot do it, that it only it bans it, because then there will be a public outrage that will be there. So it is not only the economics that governs a nation. There are so many other factors that are being held in a nation, and which have to be taken together, if a nation has to run successfully. Okay, yes, of course, governance is one of the biggest problems that India faces. Of course, the ever growing population, governance, and other areas like corruption and all these are the factors which of course cannot be taken out, and be taken out easily from the society as a whole. So that is where, the limitations, when we talk about say the realistic portions, that is what all are the limitations. Of course, if you ask me, I will say that it should be banned, but of course then the public view, the political opinion, and everything has to be taken into consideration for taking such decisions. So that is, see, this is more of a theory. We are talking about one portion, that is economics, but a nation as a whole, as you all understand, is having so many other aspects to be taken care of. So of course, When we talk about, say, macroeconomics, where we say the economics of a nation has to be analyze that what works out economically for a nation, then a nation should look forward to produce more goods and services. It is that if the nation has to develop, then it should produce more and more goods and services that will generate better income levels, that will lead to better utilization of resources, and the nation will develop. Stability in an economy is important, and other macroeconomic problems. So when macroeconomics as a whole is studied, these are some of the points which are taken into consideration. Of course, macroeconomics is a vast subject that is there, because there are many things that are studied in macroeconomics, which include national income, which include inflation, which include business cycles, which are all a part of your syllabus also, which include budgeting, which include export import policies, all the policies that are being taken by the government, the entire banking structure, and how the system as a whole in a nation works, and how it has to be taken up in the best manner. That is what is macroeconomics all about. It encompasses all these topics. What is the role of government, how banking structure is defined in a nation, what is the role of banking structure in a nation, then what is national income, statistics, everything that inflation and related parts is taken up in this macroeconomics as a subject. Okay, so it has it is a very wide subject that is taken into consideration. Now, based on our, and I think all of you have understood, the difference between micro and macroeconomics. Now, see, our aim here is not to study economics. Am I right? Our aim is to study, economic angle for an organization. So now, from an economist, we will become managers. Let us all start thinking ourselves as manager of an organization. Now, thinking ourselves as manager of an organization, if I ask you this question, that which part of economics do you think is required when decision making is done? Okay, what are your answers? I mean, I'd like to know, like, if you think yourself as a manager in an organization or decision making authority who has to take a decision, then what part of economics, micro or macro, you need to take the decision? Do you think only microeconomics? Okay, so most of you say it is the microeconomics that needs to be taken into consideration for taking up a decision. Okay, okay, both. Deepak said both. Okay, Tanjeet said both. Okay, Rahman, a good answer. Micro plays more important role, but of course macro is also required with a very good. Ritesh, very nice. Resource planning, time planning, both, etc. Okay, yes, those who said only micro, see, that does not that is not the complete story. I'll tell you why. Like, for example, Mr. Anil Ambani, or somebody like him, if he has some plans to diverse, okay, and go and enter into some industry, like Reliance entered into retail industry, for example. Okay, a decision taken at a very higher level. Of course, taking this decision, they first have to see their own microeconomics, that is, what all are the resources within the organization, how is it possible, and how they can tap the resources to ensure that they can enter this retail industry. But that is not all. Only taking care of its microeconomic factors is not all, because it also has to see whether the Indian population, that is the demographics, in India is changing, how the the taste and preferences of population of India is changing, how the national income is changing, how people are becoming more westernized. They are liking to go to these supermarkets and do their purchases. Of course, there is a change in the entire trend that is happening in Indian scenario. So it is not only microeconomics, it is also what are the government policies towards it, how government encourages this particular industry, what all are the nitty-gritties involved, what all has to be taken up if Reliance has to plunge into retail industry. So we say that while taking decisions, it is not only microeconomics that might help, but it is macro also which plays a role in it. Okay, now combined effect of both, we will talk about with the use of this combined effect of both microeconomics and macroeconomics. Now we will talk about what managerial economics is all about. As you are already aware, all of you, that our subject that we are studying is not micro, not macro. We are going to study the subject named managerial economics. The reason that it is being named managerial economics is that this is being taught in a management program, so we have to take a manager's perspective when we study economics, because just studying economics for the sake of it, or for studying economics, might not help us as management students. We need to see the managerial view. We need to understand how economics can apply to business decision making. That is where we start off this subject, which is known as managerial economics. Okay, so we have talked about till now economics, then we talked about microeconomics, we talked about macroeconomics. Now we are going to talk about managerial economics. Okay, now managerial economics, first I will ask you to look into this definition of managerial economics and then possibly come to the previous slide. Just read this slide. Managerial economics is the integration of economic theory with business practice for the purpose of facilitating decision making and forward planning by management. Is this definition clear? So that part of micro and macroeconomics which is used by managers for their decision making and for their practical implementations, that is known as managerial economics. Is it clear? What about others? Deepak, Kolim, Shushant, Ajay, Vineet, Ritesh, Tanjeet, Ashish, Mr. Prasad, Rohan Pandey, Chetan Kumriya, everybody I am asking. Is it clear what is managerial economics? Great. So I have an audience who is alert. I have an audience who is connected. So that is the biggest reward as a teacher that I can have. Of course, those who are unable to hear me, my request is check on your net, check on your transmission, check on your technical points. Okay, so just read this. I don't think so I should explain this. Decision making is becoming complex these days. It is leading to increasing use of economic tool, theory, logic and concepts, and it is leading to rapid demand for professionally trained managerial manpower, of course. See, there is one more thing that I will like to discuss before I take a break of 10 minutes. Only one point out here. See, there are certain subjects that you all will be covering, like for example, you are going to cover up accounts as a subject. Okay, now every organization, maybe all of you are having a very good idea about it, is every organization has an accounts department. You can explicitly experience the subject, that is, balance sheet being prepared for every organization, and profit statements being made, or maybe certain statistical tools, another subject, that is statistics, is being used, or maybe if you are studying, for example, marketing, you will see these marketing strategies in your organization. But economics as a subject will not be explicitly experienced by all of you. Okay, it is one such subject, is uh, it is one such subject which supports your decision making. So you will not find any economics department in your organizations. It is that economics concepts, tools, theories, and logics have to be understood by the managers, and they need to use these logics in their decision making. Okay, so it is that when we talk about, say, economics as a subject, then it is not to be explicitly experienced by all of you, but if you understand economic fundamental in a better fashion, possibly your decision making as a manager becomes better. You all can. Okay, Dinakar, it is, when I say economic theory, it is all about the theoretical inputs that we will take from micro and macroeconomics to understand managerial economics. Okay, so there are many theories, there are many theoretical fundamentals that we are going to do in coming time, like for example demand, supply, so on and so forth. That is what we call economic theory. Okay, so economics is a subject which has been developed centuries ago. It is some 200 years old, but management as a concept is very new. So economics as a subject is a very theoretical subject, okay, which takes into consideration many assumptions, many ideas, and then certain theoretical laws have been made. Okay, so this is purely a theoretical subject as far as economics is concerned. But when we use the same theories in practical decision making, then we are converting the same into what we term as managerial economics. Is it clear? Is it clear? Is it clear that as a student of economics you need to understand the concept? And let me tell you, as an individual, I have used these concepts in my personal life also, and it has done wonders for me. Having an economic angle towards whatever are your resources, trying to understand the economic side of all your personal decision helps in a better decision making. So that is where you can use these economic fundamentals for your own self also, but majorly we will be discussing these fundamentals for an organization. Is it clear, everybody, now what is economics as a subject, uh, what is managerial economics, and whatever I have discussed till now?